New York landlords are suing the city over its lead testing system that they say is financially ruinous. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of the great city of New York, and it has to do with lead testing, okay? Now, obviously, we've all had to deal with this issue if you own an older home, okay? There was lead in everything that they used to make, and it's not good for people. It's not, especially not good for children, especially little children who might be like licking walls and, just putting their mouth all over stuff. They get a lot of lead in their system from the lead that could be in your home, right? So, obviously there is a public interest in making sure that this is taken care of. But the real question is it fair to landlords? Is there a fair testing procedure? Is there a fair way to get the problem corrected that doesn't cost a lot of money? And I don't think New York's system is the best thing for landlords. I think that it goes too far, okay? Like, it goes to the point where you could test, like where you need to get everything abated because you have a high level of lead in your building. And then if you get retested and then bring those results to the city, guess what? The city won't take those results. They won't allow you to retest. And so it puts a landlord in a position where, hey, if their test is inaccurate, detects too high a level of lead, and then you get it retested and they're like, no, you don't have it. Well, you have to do those repairs anyway. Okay, you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on repairs. And that's what this real issue is about. Okay, the abatement for the lead, when they test for lead and they find it inside a building, it is extremely expensive. And the issue, the real reason why this is a problem is because New York has rent control. Okay, that is the real problem. We're going to go back to my other issue, right? When you tell a landlord, you make a mandate that, hey, you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars making this repair, but you have absolutely no way of ever recovering that money or ever being able to cover the cost of this expenditure by increasing your rents. That's what New York does to landlords. And that is exactly why these landlords are fighting so hard, looking for any way out of it, okay? Because, they've created a lose-lose situation. And I feel bad for the people up there who are landlords and they're just trying to operate their businesses and they can't, because, every few years they're coming up with new mandates, new rules, new regulations, and every time it costs more and more money. It might be lead abatement right now. Next year, it's going to be, hey, you need to replace your boilers with, energy efficient stuff because of the climate. Next thing, you got to put solar panels on top. They pass all these mandates as though landlords have this infinite flow of cash. They're like, oh, you're making so much money. I mean, we gave you a 2% rent increase this year. That's plenty of money to cover all this, right? Wrong, okay? So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So obviously, I'm not going to ask if you think it's a good idea to do lead abatement. I'm sure no landlord here wants their tenants or their kids to end up sick with lead poisoning, okay? Nobody wants that. But I think that you should allow the landlords to get it retested, okay? And if you do force a landlord to do this sort of abatement, I believe that a landlord should be able to raise their rents in order to cover the new extremely high expense, okay? And if you don't do that, well, you're just a piece of crap and you're just screwing the landlords over. So anyway, let me get into the article. This article is coming from therealdeal.com and it says, landlord lawsuit could upend city's lead testing system. Property owners say they're denied second opinion of false positives. Let's see what it says. A Brooklyn landlord facing a $27,000 lead abatement but didn't trust the city's findings and got a second opinion from a private lab. The second test found not enough lead to require remediation, but the city refused to accept those results, according to a lawsuit that could upend the city's lead testing regime. The Department of Housing Preservation and Development had tested 820 East 10th Street, a Midwood apartment building, for lead-based paint and found some over the legal limit. The lawsuit, filed by the LLC that owns 820 East 10th and by owner entities of 2 other apartment buildings, claimed the city's refusal to consider appeals of its findings amounts to a retesting ban that denies owners their constitutional right to due process. And yeah, you should have a right to due process, okay? And there are so many old buildings up in New York that this could hit. You know, when they pass laws like this, they really created a whole industry of companies that all they do is lead abatement. And they're making a fortune right now on the backs of these landlords. And, you know, it's hard for me because I know there needs to be a balance between safety and, you know, still, you know, like where do we go where we're saying, okay, this is going too far? That's the question, okay? Like, what at what point do we say it's overreach by the government? Like they're just, you know, torturing us and we just can't take this anymore. And I think that they have reached the point of that, you know, where they're going too far when they say, hey, we won't accept outside lab results. We'll only accept our own results. That's what my opinion is. Okay? Now, will this lawsuit work? Don't know. I honestly don't know. And it could take years. And this guy, he's obviously going to just have to go ahead and do the repairs because, you know, it's just going to take too long waiting for this lawsuit to get through the courts, if it even gets through the courts. And even if it does, let's say it winds its way through the courts, what are the chances that it's going to turn out with a positive thing for the landlords? Because, you know, I realize that a lot of people are going to look at the sympathetic, they're going to look at the issue as, okay, lead is bad for kids and I don't want to hurt kids, so we're just going to force the landlords to do it. But, you know, remember, in this situation, all they're asking for is a look at a retest. That's it. They're not trying to screw the kids over. They're not saying that they don't want to do lead abatement if it is too dangerous. So, yeah, this seems like a common sense solution would be to allow retesting. A spokesperson for HPD did not comment to a request for comment. The city has tacked on at least 9 lead paint laws in the past 5 years. The landlords suing HPD are targeting Local Law 66. Passed in 2019, the law halved the allowable concentration of lead paint and required all testing to be done with an XRF analyzer, a gun-shaped reader that uses X-rays. The owners claim the test consistently produces false positives. The XRF model the city uses is 95% accurate according to its manual. Owners argue the readings are not absolute. Yeah, 95% isn't 100%. And let's say that you're close to the line. Okay, you're close to the upper limit of what you could have, but you're not above it, right? Well, that 5% inaccuracy is just enough to push you up above the line and basically screw you over. So I can understand why they would say, hey, maybe we can get a retest. But no, the city doesn't want to do that. The city doesn't want to work with these landlords and help them. And, you know, the result is that, you know, they're just going to end up losing a lot of money. So anyway, the rest of the article kind of goes over, you know, basically why or how much it's going to cost to deal with these mandates. You know, when they said they passed that many different lead paint laws alone in the last 5 years, it's crazy thinking about that, okay? But, you know, obviously it is a real issue. So it says, the cost of lead abatement is huge, Athenaeus said. For a 6-room apartment, it could be $40,000. That's a lot, okay? That's a lot of money. So, yeah, just imagine you own a whole apartment building full of units with lead in them that needs to be abated. Yeah, we're talking about bankruptcy here. So, anyway, if you're interested in this whole story, let me know what you think in the comment section down below.